Hello, ma'am. How can I help you today?
Well, I am not really sure what to do.
Please elaborate. You are not sure about what, ma'am?
Well, you see, my husband and I have been going through some tough times. He recently got laid off from his job and has been drinking heavily. He blames me for losing his job and for his drinking problem. The fights have been escalating and I do not know what to do.
Escalating how? Have the fights become physical?
No, he has never hit me, but that is what I am afraid of. Last night he threatened to hurt me if I ever left him. We have been talking about getting a divorce, but I am afraid of what he might do if I go through with it.
I am glad that you came here. Domestic violence is something that we take very seriously. As a matter of fact, I was just discussing a case with my partner that involved a young mother, Amy Homan McGee, who was murdered by her husband in Pennsylvania back in 2001 after she tried to leave him from the abuse that she suffered for years.
Oh no. That's awful.
Amy's story is not unique, miss. Nearly 20 people are physically abused per minute by an intimate partner in the United States.
20 people per minute? That is quite an alarming statistic.
That adds up to more than 10 million victims per year. Although, not every domestic violence situation turns fatal. Many times small disputes similar to what you described with your husband escalate into violent situations.
I see. But in my husband's defense, he never hit me.
Ma'am, abuse is not limited to physical violence. Abuse can take many forms, from threats made against a person, yelling, and other forms of emotional abuse such as isolating a person, controlling an individual's finances, and so on. I am very concerned about the threats that your husband made against you. Are you afraid of him ever?
Well, yes. Yes, sometimes I am. But I do not know what to do about it. I don't want him to get in trouble, but I am scared of him at times.
Have you ever considered filing a restraining order against your husband?
A restraining order? I am sorry, officer, but I am not sure what you mean.
A restraining order is a court order that prohibits an abusive offender from having any contact with the victim.
But we live together, officer. How would that even work?
Since you're here, you can file one today if you would like. You just have to fill out a form that requires you to explain that you live in fear of your husband, document that he has threatened your life, and explain any other events in which he may have been abusive towards you. Once a temporary order is issued, it becomes effective immediately.
How will my husband know that I filed one?
An officer will serve him the restraining order at your home. The no-contact order will prevent your husband from having any contact with you until he is required to attend court, where he is given a right to contest the allegations that were made against him. Until then, he cannot call you, email you, visit you, or contact you by any other means.
I'm nervous that this will just upset him more. What if he shows up at my work?
If he violates the order, he could be charged with either civil or criminal contempt. An offender who violates an order can be arrested. However, the crime is usually treated as a misdemeanor.
What if my husband did assault me and he were to be arrested? Does arresting the perpetrator prevent further abusive occurrences?
Studies such as the Minneapolis experiment, which was conducted about 35 years ago, proved that mandatory arrest policies can deter future situations of abuse. However, other replications of the study found that the deterrent effect of arrest only lasts several days after an abusive incident. There are also other alternatives to arresting a person, such as the use of crisis intervention techniques and mediation. But I would strongly suggest that you file a restraining order while you are here.
I just am not sure that I am ready to do that. He is a nice guy most of the time.
But he threatened your life, ma'am.
I understand. But I do love him, and I do not think that he would ever physically hurt me.
How about this? I am going to give you my card in case you need to contact me for anything. In the meantime, there is a class about domestic violence this Thursday at the town hall. It is a very informative program that helps victims of partner violence learn about warning signs and why victims do not leave abusive relationships. I think you may learn a lot from the class.
I will think about it.
Please do. Your story is just how the young woman Amy's started. I would hate to see you hurt, ma'am. Good luck, and please call me if you need anything.
Thank you for your help, officer.
Hello there. I'm Ben. How can I help you?
Hi, Ben. My name is Lisa. I was told about a domestic violence class. Are you the instructor?
Oh yes. I am so sorry to inform you that I canceled class tonight. I'm just here finishing up some work. If you don't mind if I ask, are you having problems or?
Well, somewhat. I spoke with an officer, but you see, I am not quite sure if I am a victim of abuse in my marriage.
I see. Defining family violence itself causes debate. Some people say that family violence means two people have to be legally married. However, that is considered a rather limited viewpoint, considering family violence can occur in couples who are not married as well, and are cohabiting.
I see.
Yes, the term itself is often too vague. Family violence can also include child sexual abuse, elder abuse, neglect, etc., making it hard to determine factors that contribute to domestic violence. However, in almost every violent situation, the abuser tries to exert power and control over a victim.
Yes, I can relate to that. My husband is a very jealous man. He always tries to tell me what to do. He even told me he does not want me to speak with my family anymore. He blames me for everything. Calls me names. But I don't understand it. One day he is fine, then he's back to his charming self. It is so hard. He's so sweet one minute, and the next he is punching walls.
Oh yes. It sounds to me like you're describing the cycle of violence theory.
I'm sorry. The what?
Violence often occurs in the three-phase cycle. You see, what you described is common. First, tension builds within a relationship. Minor arguments increase. Couples may bicker back and forth. You know, somewhat petty stuff. However, these fights can quickly escalate. Tensions explode and can turn physical. Then, in the last stage cycle, it's back to the calm, loving honeymoon phase. The abuser begs for forgiveness. The victim loves him, believes he will change. They're back together, yada yada and so on.
I see.
This cycle of abuse helps to explain why victims stay with their abuser. You know, Lisa, more than 3 women are murdered a day by their husbands in the United States alone.
Oh, but I don't think he would ever, well, resort to that.
Well, I do not know the extent of the problems in your marriage. But I do know that 85% of intimate partner victims are women. Which is why I am very concerned for you. Have you ever thought about seeing a therapist, Lisa?
No. No, I have not.
It might be a good idea. I know of a great psychiatrist right up the street. Let me give you her information in case you would like to talk to her about any problems that you may be experiencing. Feel free to come back to my class next week as well. Domestic violence is a very serious issue, Lisa.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you for your help today.
You're welcome and good luck with everything, Lisa.
Hello, I'm Miss Green. But you can call me Amy. So what brings you in today?
Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm here because I have been having some problems in my marriage.
HMMMM.
Okay. Lately I am so fearful of my husband. We fight all the time. But lately it's become worse. He has threatened to hurt me if I leave him. I feel so helpless. I'm scared. I'm lost. I feel alone. I want to make things work, but I just cannot deal with the abuse any longer.
I see. Do you mind describing your husband to me?
He really is so charming sometimes. But he always feels the need to control everything that I do. He's calm, then goes off. Calm, then mad.
It sounds like you're describing a tactic abusers use on their victims. They use power to control a victim. Then things will settle down, and the abuse will reoccur. This creates a bond between the abuser and their victim. The victim will feel attached and accustomed to this cycle of behavior. Please, continue.
Well, He makes me feel like I'm all alone. He drinks a lot lately. I depend on him for everything too, so I feel like I can't leave him. The car is under his name, the house, our bank account. Everything.
Again, we are talking about control. These are actually common characteristics of abusers. They socially isolate their victim, control all of the finances, they may abuse alcohol. They are also often jealous individuals, have frequent mood swings, etc. Is your husband working?
No, ma'am. He just lost his job a few weeks ago.
Stress over the loss of a job could very well lead to abuse. Now, do you know if he was exposed to violence as a child?
Why, yes, Miss Green. He was.
Oh yes. The intergenerational cycle of violence.
Excuse me?
It is a theory of violence that explains why children, who are victims of or witness violence at an early age, become violent as adults. Violence can be learned and thus is repeatedly passed on from one generation to the next. Unless your husband learns to break the chain of violence that he was accustomed to growing up, I'm afraid that this vicious cycle may only continue and get worse.
So what do you suggest, Miss Green?
Why don't you both come in next week to talk about the problems in further detail? That way, if he wants to, we can talk about the factors that may be contributing to his violent behaviors so that he can acknowledge them and work towards a healthy change. How does that sound?
That sounds great. I will talk to him and call you to schedule an appointment. Thank you for your time.